Welcome to Overseasoned.
It's only going to take one take.
I actually kicked him out of the restaurant.
Why?
Got a bitch to someone.
Got a bitch to somebody, and I'm good to bitch too.
I thought you were from Spain.
Yes, I am.
Oh.
Sí soy.
Gotcha.
Soy chorizo.
Oh, no.
You've gone into Martha Stewart land.
It's good. It's just not live.
Whatever.
Okay.
It's like a scene from Cocoon. Like the sun goes down.
You don't want to get blacklisted.
You know what, Mr. President? Is this what you want? Let's go. Perfect. So, this is going to be the most exciting episode of Overseasoned podcast that we've done so far because we're starting out with beautiful grower champagne.
Correct.
So, Besay, it's really exciting to see you. I'm going to do some,
Likewise.
I'll do the honors of opening a bottle.
Yes, please.
And
Maybe
why don't
explain
you-
a little bit about grower champagne, what that means.
why don't you talk a little bit about grower champagne?
Yeah, well, I think that this is something that has been already since a while, but it only became trendy in the past 5 to 10 years, no? When
Yeah.
consumers start demanding champagne made by growers, I mean, the thing with the wine is that there's so much misconception between the producers, the negociant, the growers.
Yeah.
People tend to believe, for example, that if you buy a wine from a negociant, it's not going to be as good that if you buy directly from the producer or the grower, and that's not true. There are many negociants, for example, in Burgundy, that they are producers and negociants since 30, 40 years ago.
Yeah.
In fact, they were the one who put Burgundy where it's today.
Right. Without the negociants, it wouldn't
Without
be where it
negociants,
is.
there would not be.
Yeah.
The wine world that we know today will not exist in the way it is.
Yeah.
It will not be without them.
Yeah.
In fact, they knew the best plots where they could buy grapes. They know for long the people who has been working on those plots.
Right.
So, they're getting exceptional grapes and they're making amazing wines.
Yeah.
It happened today with Logan Ponceau. For example, Logan Ponceau, since he led the domain officially in 2013, but extra-officially already officially in 2017, but extra-officially since 2013. He was a negociant since late 80s. And he knew pretty much where to buy all the grapes to make amazing wines. And now they launched the new project, Logan Ponceau, with the
This is the one with the,
label.
with the silver.
Yeah.
It looks very
Yeah,
modern.
yeah.
We had a bottle last night.
Did we?
Do you import that
Yeah, I
wine?
imported that one.
See, we're supporting you already.
Thank you.
So cheers.
Cheers, guys. Super
Cheers.
nice to see you. Super
Cheers.
nice.
So this is
Welcome.
a wine, Besay, that you're bringing into the Philippines.
Correct.
Nice. So
In this case, of course, connecting with the topic of the grower, you have champagne makers that they've been buying a lot of grapes, and they also sell a lot of grapes. Some of them own
I love that
vineyards,
style.
some of them they don't. In the case of Lancelot Piet, he's a grower. They grow all what they bottle. He doesn't buy grapes outside, so it's all owned 100% by him. And that's pretty much also the concept understood under grower.
Okay, cool. And you guys always like to drink champagne out of wine glasses.
yeah, there's something about the flute. I believe. Yes, you got to talk about this thing too, Besay. We'll get to that. So the flutes, they look very fancy, and it's kind of like a sign of celebration. But you really can't appreciate the wine the same way, and that's why, every time I'll just, maybe the people in Franciacorta had it right from the beginning, So to drink it into something that you can actually smell it better.
Exactly.
Besay, this wine is
Drinking like a white wine. The
Correct.
point is, all the champagne producers will tell to you they want their wine to be served in a white wine glass. Aside from what Xavi explained, that kind of classic sparkling glass, like a tube, is also because you can put very little and it keeps chill.
Oh, it stays cold.
You see the bubble going
Right.
down up. So it's also a aesthetical thing,
Right.
marketing thing. But in reality, this is the way going.
This is delicious. This definitely has a rounder, richer, really, it reminds me of not quite Salas oxidated style,
No,
but it has that
yeah,
rich
yeah.
and oxidative
The
style.
producer will be very happy to be compared with Celosa.
Marie Lancelot. So it's the name of the lady who makes it?
It's a guy. It's a
Oh, it's
Lancelot
Marie.
Bien.
Okay.
Ram today the state by Julien. It's a guy, the one who made it.
Julien makes it.
Yeah,
So Julien, your wine is delicious.
it is, man.
And Besay, thanks for sharing it. So it's a
You're
perfect way to start
It is.
because today's what? So let's start from the beginning. We are in Manila, which actually we're in Makati, and we're at your restaurant and your cellar, right? It's a beautiful restaurant, one of my favorite places that I get to enjoy actually, Besay, even though I know you, I think you're too busy for me to get in anymore.
Nah, that's not true.
Are you kidding? A few times I text and I'm like, hey, can I have a table? Coño, tío, es que estamos ya a top full. So you got to really, I mean, it's a great restaurant. It's one of the first places I got to enjoy when I got here. So how long has Chanton been opened?
We opened officially on October 30 from 2015.
2015.
Yeah. In fact, we were not yet finished because Chanton is the restaurant, but it's also the wine shop, you know. So
Okay.
what we always say is that what we build, it's a shop where we integrate the restaurant, but it's still the engine of the business today is the shop.
Got
it's the distribution of all what we import, you know.
Right.
And the restaurant is the perfect way to bring clients, to show your products.
It's like a showroom.
Yeah, it's a showroom.
'Cause you
Then
have a lot
maybe
of-
they don't come for dining anymore in 2 months, 3 months.
Right.
But they buy every 2 weeks from our promos or
Got it.
whatever they need, you know. So
So you do wine imports, then you
Yeah.
also do meats.
correct.
Cheeses
Meat,
also?
seafood, cheeses.
Oh, everything.
A
Nice.
little bit of everything. We started in the very beginning just with wine and ham, you know,
Yeah.
caviar also, and a little bit of olive oil. And then little by little, we start expanding the portfolio. When we saw that the business was in a healthy situation, we always try to step up to the level, you know. But we never grow without knowing that we are not 100% prepared. So I'm not
Yeah.
taking any risk. I'm
Right.
taking risks, of course, but
Right.
I'm taking
Calculated.
risk within or no risk.
Right.
You know?
You
Yeah.
add when there's demand for it. Right.
And so, Besay, have you been in restaurants your whole life, or have you been in the food world at least your whole life?
No, not really. Not really.
No.
No, actually.
So tell us your story because I don't know the full story, but I'm super interested.
Yeah.
So Besay Gonzalez, and what's your mom's last name? Gonzalez
Brito.
Brito.
Brito. My mother was from Canary Island. So Brito is.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Canaries up. I went for the first time.
When?
Tenerife. I was
Oh, yeah.
there last summer.
Okay.
I can't believe how good the olive oil is there, and
Yes.
none of it leaves the island.
Yeah.
The olive oils I had from Tenerife are the best. Sorry,
Really?
Chris Vetzvatzis. I went and did an olive harvest for the first time in Greece
Ah, really?
this past year,
Oh, nice.
and it was wonderful and
Where did
great.
you do? Where did you do the house in Greece?
Crete. In
Ah,
Crete.
In Crete. Good, because we're importing. The only state I'm importing from Greece, it's Domain Economou, which I got to know thanks to Mark.
No way.
Yeah. You know, so I got in love with the wine. I called the winery 3 year consecutive.
Where is that wine from?
In Crete. It's
Oh,
made
I've
in
never had
Crete,
it.
You know, very small production. They
Got
sell
it.
it between U.S. market, Japan, little bit in England, I think, and tiny amount for us. You know,
And what's a tiny amount? Like 3
tiny amount
cases?
cases. I mean, maybe I don't know, 15, 20 cases.
Got it.
You know,
That's cool.
it is.
And so have you spent time? Which of the islands is your mother from?
My mother is from Santa Cruz de Tenerife.
Okay, she's from Santa Cruz de Tenerife.
Yeah.
Have you spent time there?
Yes, I did, especially when I was a child. You know, we used to go for summer every year there. But then eventually we stopped going. But at the very beginning, we used to go a lot.
And where did you grow up?
I grew up I was born in Mallorca.
Nice. Good
I
island
stayed
boy.
there. Yeah, I think so now. Philippines.
You must be a
know.
good swimmer.
So I am. I'm a good swimmer. You know. And I grew up in Granada. We moved when I was 5, 6 years old, more or less. Yeah, I was there until 17.
Wow. And do you have a favorite snack that reminds you of Granada from growing up?
A favorite snack, aquí acá en Granada. Fíjate, more than thinking of a favorite snack from Granada, I think of a favorite sweet, the piononos. Piononos. It's a very traditional. It's a very traditional piece of cake that we do in Granada that is very famous.
What does it have inside? Like almonds or something? I'm imagining what happens
It's pretty
inside.
much cake. It has a little bit of cabello de ángel. I don't know how you translate cabello de
angel
ángel.
hair?
Angel hair is
Yeah.
called. Vale.
Yeah.
The cabello de
Like-
ángel.
like
a
thin-
little bit
like
of cream.
Like thin and crispy angel hair?
Not crispy at all. The
No.
crispiness is on top, and it's because it's caramelized with the sugar and torch.
Whoa.
So it's very
Pionina.
simple to do, but they have the recipe, and nobody
That's
else
their
is doing
that's
it
their
all
thing.
around,
That's their thing.
So
So you grew up in Granada until you were 17.
yeah, 17 I moved.
And then where did you go?
I moved to Seville. I was there for 6 years in the university.
Okay.
I should have stayed in Granada. Coño. The university in Granada is amazing.
Is it? So
Yeah,
I've only been to
yeah.
Alhambra. I don't know much about Granada. I want to
Yeah.
go back, and now that I know that you spent so much time there, I'm going to ask you for tips.
Yeah, well, I'm not the best ambassador for Granada, because it's so much
'Cause you
time
left?
out,
Yeah, of course.
But I mean, I know the basic places, and yeah, university there is very popular. But what I study, it was not available in Granada, so I had to move to Seville.
Got it. What did you study?
I study cinema. I study
So-
audiovisual communication.
Here we are, full circle. That's incredible. And so, did you
Yeah.
work in film?
No, I work in radio. I did during the university a lot of projects related to film, but my professional background in that industry, it was in radio.
No
You know,
way.
yeah.
Who's your? Do you have a favorite Spanish director?
For cinema?
Yeah.
For cinema, well, there has been a lot. I mean, Ava, I think that he has a wonderful time.
Yeah.
He did great. Alex de la Iglesia as well. I still remember El Día de la Bestia.
El Día de la Bestia.
It's a piece of art. How he
There's-
reflects that the real devil in the society is the society itself.
Yeah.
Not the devil coming. No?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think that those are directors that I like it very much. Yeah.
And then, did you ever have an opportunity to work in radio also?
Yeah, in radio, I did 1 year and a half, more or less. I
What's
work
wh-
I work in the technical part.
The boring part.
Yeah, well, buddy, I had so much fun too.
You did? Okay.
Yeah, I did.
I'm not saying what you guys do is boring, but it's not as fun as being on this side, in my opinion.
No, the things that I like to enjoy, and every time that I got a new job, I try to make the best of. I know that there was the boring part quote.
Yeah,
but there
yeah.
was also a nice part. No? And I remember in the radio, I was the sound technician. And I was handling the morning parrilla. I don't know how you say parrilla. The schedule in the morning for the
Oh,
radio
okay.
from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Like almost like the project manager of all the stuff that's
Nah,
happening.
less than that. I was just handling all this. I was making sure that all the programs and the shows from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. were properly recorded and displayed.
I see.
So
This is in Sevilla?
in Seville,
Okay.
in the center of Seville, in Sierpes, I think. I mean,
Years ago.
beautiful area, Yeah, of course, I was, 25 years old.
Oh,
And I remember that in my free time, I used to prepare like a little script for jokes.
Are you
and
serious?
calling my friends and making jokes, I mean, I was listening about someone is going through this thing. Okay, let's prepare a nice joke about that. So we were connected with 80 different radios all Andalusia.
Okay, got it.
That they were paying a fee to connect to us because we were preparing informatives
Sure.
and
Different
segments that they were interested. They were paying a month and they were getting them. So one day when I was doing one of these jokes, of course, this was not on the radio official. I was doing it
Just behind the scenes.
Just behind the
Yeah.
scenes. And I get a phone call from the radio. I think it was from Mijas in Malaga or something like this. Say, Besay, what are you doing, my friend? I'm laughing so much here, but what is this? Oh my God, did I put this really in antenna? No. But I'm connected through you, through a dispositive that allow me to hear what you are doing behind the scene. Coño, you know.
How did they hear it?
It was a RSDI. It was like a, I don't know if they still use that, but in the past, when you were calling to other cities, you were using that to connect with the people. And they were there waiting, and then when they give you pass, boom, you were putting those people through that unit. So he was connected to me through that unit, and I didn't know that he could hear. So, I mean, I got so scared. But anyway, I mean, the point here is that I was having fun, you know.
Good.
So,
You need to have fun.
yeah, of course.
And then, so you're 25, you're working in radio, and then obviously, here we are. I mean, how did you get into restaurants?
Well, you know, it's a long history because after the radio, I saved money and I moved to Barcelona.
Okay.
Where I did two master degrees in marketing and business communication.
Oh, all the things that you need for a restaurant.
Well, you need it.
Yeah, you do need it.
True.
You do need it.
I mean, at the moment I did it, I never thought that I would end up in hospitality industry, but
Or in Manila, I'm guessing.
and in Manila, no? But
Yes.
it's true, you know, I was working also for different advertisement agencies in Barcelona.
Okay.
And then the recession started in 2008 with
Right.
another issue. It became so hard to find a job. And then I lost. My last year, I finished the second master degree, and I could not find jobs, so I came back to my hometown, Granada.
Okay, so you went back to Granada.
I met a friend that he has another advertisement agency who came from Singapore and told me, you know, you gotta go to Asia because while
Really?
Europe and America are going down at that time,
Got
Asia
it.
is booming, you know. And I see, wow, Asia,
Interesting.
you know.
And
yeah.
this was a guy that you met in Barcelona or in Granada?
No, this guy is a guy that he used to do, well, the wife of my father was banker, and she was handling some accounts for the father of this guy.
Okay.
He was a wealthy guy, you know, that he, at that age, maybe 30, 35 years old, he already traveled all over the world.
He had been.
I mean, I like it to get advices from those
Of
kind of
course.
people that travel all over the world. Those are the best advices you're going to
Sure.
get.
Those are the
It's
best.
not gonna come from your father. It's not gonna come from your teacher.
No, of
it's
course
gonna come from the person who traveled the most.
Yeah,
all
that's
over
true.
the world.
Yeah, I was gonna say they're usually the best people to drink with too, but they're
Yeah.
honestly not as fun to drink with. I like drinking with you guys. They have the best wines, but we have the best conversations.
Yeah.
So then you decide to come to Asia.
Actually, it's funny because I was about to go to USA. I was about to go to Houston.
And
Because
how did you learn English so well, Besay? Because you probably have like how many different languages do you know now?
well, I mean, my English still, I think, sucks. So today,
No.
but my pronunciation got a little bit better, but I learned English here in the Philippines, you know.
You learned it here.
Yeah, I came here with vocabulary, but speaking and listening, zero, you know.
So you have some English. Obviously, Spanish is your first language, and then
I believe so.
yeah, right. Although, if you talk to my dad, the people in Canaries don't necessarily speak Spanish.
Yeah, that's
but
true.
my mom's Puerto Rican though, so that's the same Spanish as her. And then, but then you speak some Japanese now too.
I do.
All right, so we're gonna talk about Asia. So you decide that you're gonna move to Asia. What does your family say?
Well, my father thought I was going to US, no, to work in a football team from the MLS.
No
the
way.
Houston Dynamo, yeah, in marketing department with them. But suddenly, at the same time,
that was his dream for you, wasn't
well,
it?
you know, I liked the sport marketing, and
Yeah,
it
of
was
course.
something related also with what I studied. So I thought like, wow, this is gonna be cool. But then at the same time,
And for a
as
Spaniard,
I-
that's religion.
yeah,
Soccer,
it is,
right?
it is. And it used to be my religion, and now it's not anymore, you know. So,
Got it.
But yeah, I mean, at the same time, I was so lucky that I was sending a lot of resumes all over Asia because of the conversation I had with this guy I mentioned a while ago. Suddenly, I got contacted by another wine importer company in the Philippines. That
Okay.
at that time, they were just starting. They had only 2 shops with restaurant. They were looking for someone to run the marketing. And I thought like, wow, you know,
So
this is
you,
different.
a Spaniard, got your start in wine in
in
Asia.
the Philippines.
What the fuck? That's crazy.
It is.
Okay. So you come here and you're working with a wine importing company.
Yeah.
And this was when? 10 years ago? More than that?
14 years ago.
And you didn't
14.
speak English yet at the
No,
time.
I
So
did
how are you
not.
communicating with
Yeah.
them?
Well, dude, that was crazy because there's an history that I always also tell to people. I mentioned it. I was in a month ago in a YPO event in the south of the Philippines. It was a pairing with cheeses from Malagos in Davao and the wines we import. And I explained to all of them that how cheese and ham has been in the very beginning of my history in the Philippines. And because when I moved here, I didn't speak English, and my job was during the day to run the office. I mean, pretty much all the marketing things related that I could do in the office. And then in the evening time, I was going to the second branch they opened at that time, that was in BGC,
Okay.
Manufacturing Global City, where I still live today.
Yeah.
And I was staying there at night time, drinking with people, eating with people.
Sure.
And every night I was ending up with a cheese platter and a couple of wine glasses with someone from Australia,
Sure.
Scotland, England, without understanding a single word.
Are you serious?
It's the international language of wine and cheese.
Yes.
Yeah, but the wine and the cheese, can make everything happen,
It does. It did.
It did, it did, because I spent 6 months just with these people, just using fillers, interjection. Oh, really? Oh, I see. Oh, really? Oh, I see.
Oh my God.
And this is tiring also every night like
Right.
this 2 to 3 hours, coming back home so
course.
frustrated that it was very hard to understand. You could not be involved in the conversation at all.
Because you had different accents going
Yeah.
too. Because you'd have like you said.
Yeah, I
English
tell
and
to you,
Australian.
in
Yeah.
fact, when I was facing Scottish or Irish,
Yeah.
drunk,
Yeah.
oh my God, even some Australians also, it's
Yeah.
very hard to understand. So, yeah, that was tough. But it was very rewarding because eventually I got
Yeah,
there,
once you learn it that way,
Yeah.
you're going to learn it for
Yeah.
good.
And you obviously like to learn. You're going to school, right? And you got
of
all
course.
these different titles and masters. And, and like you do all of this and now it's another one, right?
Yeah.
You have to get another master's in a new language, right?
Exactly.
So then, so when you came to Manila, BGC was the first place that you came to? It's
correct.
probably changed so much, right? We'll usually stay in Ortigas because we have an office that's in QC, in Cubao. But then we decided to stay in BGC just to switch our scenery. It's a different
Completely
world.
different.
It's a
It's
different
a
world.
completely different world. It's like
It's
it feels like we went to a different city. It
Yeah,
really
it
does.
feels like Singapore,
Yeah.
almost. And so how has BGC changed, and how has the scene changed since you began? I mean, even from the wines and stuff, are you noticing like big evolutions?
It definitely, especially in the last 10 years.
Right.
During my first 5 years here, it's true that BGC was nothing. I mean, I remember that 2/3 of the land was not yet built by then. I think by when I came, maybe less than a third, and today it's 2/3 and another third was to be finished. It's crazy. So, yeah, I mean, the wine scene, I think that has changed a lot, and in a good way.
A lot because of the stuff that you're doing.
Well,
I would imagine.
we are few people here trying to do our best.
There was a point in time, there's a wine, a Chablis, that's just incredible called Dovisat. And there was a point in time where it was impossible to find it in New York City. It was impossible to find it in Vegas. It just became ridiculous. But I knew that every time I came to Manila, it was going to be here. And I used to buy Dovisat off of your shelf at the store. And bring it back.
Now we're gonna find it anymore.
Of course. It's fucked up by everybody. I say the sommeliers ruin everything, right? They put something on Instagram and LeBron James puts it on Instagram and now all of a sudden Emilio Pepe is $500 a bottle.
Yeah.
But
surprisingly.
so then when you were here and you're working in wine, of course, I would imagine, did something happen that you just fell in love with the industry and you said, I got to do this? This is my thing?
Well, I think that at the very beginning, rather than falling in love with the industry, it was we need to work,
Got
I
it.
came...
It was out of necessity.
Yeah, it was a necessity, I came to Philippines with one hand like this and the other hand like this,
Yes.
I mean, I didn't have a single coin in the bank. I knew that I have good education,
Sure.
but I wanted at a place where I could grow, I could flourish
Yes.
and to show all what I learned and to keep learning. No matter if I like it, the industry or not, I will try to make my place there. And then, after 6 months here, I fell in love with the culture. I fell in love with the people because I think that all over Asia, I think I have not traveled enough, but maybe I've been in 8 to 10 countries, and still the people from Philippines is something else,
There's some of the best
Yeah.
people on earth.
Yeah, some of the
You
people
guys are the
there,
best.
You
know it. You know it.
Very nice people, happy,
Welcoming,
it's
friendly.
It doesn't seem to me like materialist people, Of course, we
The
all
others.
need things,
Yes.
It's evolution, We
Yeah.
want more things, we are more happy. But here, with little, people is happy. What many people don't realize even here is that wherever you go all over the world, people has a lot and they're not happy. And
Yes.
people here has little and they're happy.
Right.
And they still have time for joking, even
Yeah.
if they are in the shit or this or that.
Right.
That, for me, that was priceless. And I came here with the goal of learning English and as I say to you, try to flourish and do my best. And then when ready, go to somewhere else. But then, I saw all of these things and say, wow, this is amazing.
So then you decide, all right, I'm gonna build my own place.
Yeah, well, I worked for several years.
Okay, so you were here for many years.
The first 5 years, aside from working for that group, I work also for another group, with the group of Chile.
Okay. Yep.
That we
You
did
found
the
another
first year,
Spaniard that you
another Spaniard.
Yeah, that you can complain with, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Um,
You're like, have you had a tomato in this island? Like, yeah, I've had them.
So yeah, we did very nice 2 years, the beginning of Basque, and then I got the luck to meet the main shareholder of this group. That is a very wealthy person in the Philippines. He has a crazy wine collection, and he was thinking of opening a wine shop, but there was not a clear concept.
Got it.
So we met, we liked each other, and I say, I want to build this. I want to conceptualize this. I want to build it, and I want to run it.
Got it.
Yeah, chemistry was there still today after 10 years, and yeah, we made it happen.
That's amazing. So then, I've always wanted to ask you this, and I don't know this one, but what does chanton mean? It looks like a Basque word.
It is. It's a Basque word. But it's funny because many people in Basque country, they don't hear about that word either.
No.
Yeah.
Chanton.
You check in internet, some websites say that it's related to a name. That people
Okay.
say that it's related to Jose.
Jose?
Yeah.
Like José?
Joseph. I don't know. In this case, we use chanton also because it's a tribute to a family that came to the Philippines for the very beginning 153 years ago. And this
Okay.
person was called Paulino Chanton.
Got
And he
it.
was a merchant,
Okay.
from the Basque country.
Got it.
Marinero, sea merchant. At that time in the Philippines, it's funny, but all the Basque families that they were coming, many of them were sea merchants.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Um,
Legazpi.
Yeah.
That's
I
where
mean-
my father grew up in the town of
In the
Legazpi.
town of Legazpi.
Yeah, in Guipúzcoa.
Wow.
What is that?
So Legazpi was a really famous explorer
In
And-
Bicol.
in Bicol, and he was one of the first to like really develop some settlements for the Spaniards here. And when I would be in Spain and visit my family in Guipúzcoa, I would always go to visit some of like the little towns in the Basque Country up in the mountains. And one time my uncle went to show me where they used to grow up, and they used to raise rabbits. They used to
Yeah.
take care of rabbits for a farm. And this town was called Legazpi, and it's changed a lot. It's like an old warehouse town
Yeah,
where, you know, they would, I think back then they were making flour.
yeah.
And it's kind of like a, you know, like a post World War II kind of, you know, like a town that ran down because they don't make flour there anymore. But it's named after the explorer Legazpi. There's a few famous ones. Elcano is another famous guy that like went around the world and stuff. So when I first came here, I went to Legazpi Market, and I'm like, wow, there's a lot of connections between the Basques and the Philippines.
Interesting.
Yeah. And, you know, of course, there's history here from, you know better than any of us, the Spaniards, and then, of course, the Chinese were here, and then the Americans. It's what kind of makes the Philippines, I think, so cool. It's got influences from everywhere.
Exactly. So many people have been passing through here.
Yes.
There is a very interesting book called El Galeón de Manila. El Galeón de Manila, it was a boat.
In Spain, a Spanish
It
book?
was, yeah, a Spanish book, but I'm sure it's translated in English. Huh?
Yeah.
In fact, not so long ago, I watched it was a podcast that they filmed with a lady from Singapore explaining how Manila 500 years ago was the trade capital worldwide.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, because there was a boat called El Galeón that it was crossing from Spain to Acapulco in Mexico and from Acapulco to Manila. So this was the three areas where the boat was back and forth,
What was
back and
that?
forth. And then what happened in Spain, they were collecting all kind of accessories, metals, and goods from north and south. Okay, north, rest of Europe, South Africa. Then in Acapulco, they were collecting things from North America and South America.
It's
and
cut right to the
and
middle,
in Manila, for the whole Asia. So
Wow.
whatever was traveling inside of this galleon, this ship, it could bring things from all over the world. And Manila, it was the official place to trade for every single thing.
Wow.
And this happened 500 years ago.
The beginning of globalization.
Yeah, the beginning of globalization is that, pretty much.
Incredible.
Amazing, amazing.
Okay, and then so Chanton, don't tell me this, Besay, because you're gonna fucking blow my mind. Chanton is the first restaurant you ever worked in?
No.
Okay. Oh, right. No, right. Because you had a couple years
No,
with
claro.
Chile and all that. Okay, I was gonna say
Chile and the other.
because that would be wild. That
Yeah,
would be
it would be
wild.
wild,
Okay. And so let me ask you this. So when you decided, okay, I'm here in Asia, I'm learning English, I'm gonna do whatever I can, you know what I mean, to get ahead. I'm ambitious. I want to learn things. I want to make my father proud because I didn't end up working for the soccer club.
It's okay.
Yeah.
You got covered.
You got over it. So what was it like? Was it a shock the first time that you decided, okay, I'm working inside of a restaurant? Like, what was that? I'm sure it was a transformation. Or was it? How was your experience just the first couple of times, like in a shift or on the
It
floor?
was crazy. I think that everyone who ended up working in the hospitality industry with no intention, apparently, it really goes bananas. I mean, it's like, oh my God, what I'm doing here. I'm
Yeah.
dealing with customers every day.
Yeah.
I mean, and the funny thing is that the first place where I work, it was not a place about details. It was a place about cheap food, cheap wines, and
Got
don't
it.
ask me,
Right.
don't complain if the toilet is dirty, or don't complain if you
Got
see
it.
a cockroach going around,
Right.
But of course, it was aspirational place because Philippines was not yet, and is not yet today, a mature wine consumer country. So the people that was going there, they were expecting that, we're here, this is a place with wines, but
Fancy,
but they
fancy.
were paying dollars for bottles, few dollars. And I remember that it was so many crazy things that is when I really realized that when I was working in advertisement, I always liked the copy part, the creative part.
Creator.
Yeah.
And then what did I do when I started working in restaurant? Using that for what? For dealing with clients that they were mad and finding ways to make them calm down on this or that. So, it's funny because no matter what you study, the simple fact of going to university is to open your brain.
Yeah.
They put a axe in your brain and they fully open it, So when you are now in any kind of situation, you're gonna find a way to apply things that you have learned. Maybe not necessarily in what you study, but there's always connection,
Yeah.
you know, with what you did. And I found those connections, you know. And I made my way, but I think that this is the most crazy thing was that the dealing with clients, complaining every day, because as I say to you, it was not a place that everything will be super smooth, and it was a crazy place, always packed, people drinking, cheap place.
Yeah.
You know, so usually those kind of places are the places where you have to face more, you know, more difficult to deal with clients, hard to deal with clients. You know. So yeah, I think that.
Did you, so, and this was this really the first, Tony and I are actually going to have a talk about the physical demands that it takes to work in a restaurant. And was this the first job that you had where you were really physical, like always on your feet, moving around, that kind of thing?
No, not really. I mean,
Okay, so you had already been in kind of physical jobs.
Yeah, I did. You know, I mean, I think that the matter of the fact of working hard in a place, doing so many hours, it's not really hospitality industry. It's everything, you know.
Every ownership, every entrepreneurial venture.
It's like that, you know. And even if you're not an entrepreneur, but you feel the colors, you know, you like the company where you work with, you're gonna give probably 300%. And for me, I think it has been like this since my first jobs. You know, my first job was in Tenerife.
Was in Tenerife.
Yeah, I was during summer. I was 17 years old, and I wanted to save money to buy my first car. And dude, I worked picking up bananas.
Are you kidding me?
I'm not kidding, man. And that was very crazy. I think that is the harder job
that
I ever experienced, you know?
I'm pretty sure picking fucking bananas is way harder than serving plates.
Man, 2 days a week. I mean, it was 6 days cleaning banana trees, and from those 6 days, 2 days collecting bananas, you know. And it was, you know, they call it la piña de plátano.
Okay.
And
how big are they?
Bunch
They're pretty big.
Every bunch is 40 to 50 kilos.
No shit.
Really?
That's like your size.
So dude, it's crazy, man, crazy. You could see all the people like
yes.
walking like they could not even walk. And where is the truck? 200 meters away. 200 meters away.
Up a mountain.
You know? Luckily, it was not up a mountain, but everything is relative.
Listen,
you know, when you are carrying so much weight.
When your kid turns 15 and we tell the story, it's going to be up a mountain, okay? For now, it was flat.
Yeah, exactly. We need to exaggerate.
Yeah. Okay, and so you worked at some
So I work.
Okay.
Yeah, crazy jobs.
And then so you finally come and you open Chanton. Chanton named after the famous Basque who was here in Manila. Okay, cool. Because I never knew this. And then when you started in Chanton,
getting better and better.
I know, it's beautiful. When you opened Chanton, did it start with the wine shop and jamon, or where was the beginning focus? Because I know you say that you like to take risks as you develop a little bit of a plan, right?
Correct.
So what was the beginning? Where did it start?
Well, when we opened Chanton, our idea was to focus on the shop, selling wines and then hams, offering also the possibility for the clients to enjoy a tasting of ham of the different varieties, different regions. And then, of course, we built a very beautiful kitchen with the idea of hosting private events. With those private events, but of course we could cook whatever we need to prepare for a set menu. The menu was very short. I mean, aside from that, we put, you know, a little bit of cochinillo, the baby suckling pig, no?
I think this is when I first, so I must have met you in the beginning of when you opened.
Yeah,
right?
in fact, it was one page, actually. I remember it was one page. All the different varieties of hams, cold-cut, a little bit of cheese.
Well, I think the first time I came was in maybe 2015 or 2016. Was this been around when you opened?
I think so. We met around that time.
So, Besay, I have to tell you the truth. When I came here for the first time,
to the restaurant or
to this restaurant, there were so many things that just struck me. The first thing is the pig. when you first walk in and there's the pig with the lights,
Yeah,
I don't know why. I fucking love that thing. If you ever make another one, I'm in, okay?
You know, we got a few people asking for it.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
please, can
This
I
is
be...
how your business grows. You're gonna
Yeah,
start
exactly. You're like, oh, maybe I should make some more of those. But then the hams hanging in the front, it's like a tribute to Andy Warhol, but like in the best jamon way. I love that. But what really struck me was two things when we first came. It's a beautiful restaurant. Of course, like it feels so... I mean, I fucking love wine. Of course, you know this. So just being surrounded by wine and stuff. But the menu to me was so smart. I remember getting a tasting of jamons, and it was like 6 different jamons.
Yeah.
But not only was the plate, well composed, it was the graphic designed sheets, the wax paper. He does these beautiful wax papers where each of the different jamons are labeled on the plate.
Nice.
And I'm like, this guy is fucking good. I remember just thinking, I was so impressed by that.
Yeah.
And then we also had the, how do you call it in Catalan? Pan tomate?
El pan con tomate.
Yeah, pan con tomate.
Pan amb tomat, no?
Yeah.
Pan is con...
Yeah, tomaquet or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And so he would bring out these breads toasted, and you could make your own pan con tomate, but finishing them with different olive oils.
Nice.
And when I saw this, I was like, I want to fucking be friends with this guy. So thank you for being my friend. Cheers
Thanks
to that.
to you.
Yeah, it's awesome. And so from there, Besay, you have...
Beautiful.
It is beautiful.
I like it a little bit warmer. You know?
Yeah, it's perfect that we keep it there.
Right.
know?
So
Besay, do you know what
Explain this
the
little guy.
grapes here? This is
This is
Pinot
100%
Noir.
Chardonnay.
What?
Yeah, this is 100% Chardonnay.
I'm surprised
But this
because it's got so
producer-
much body on it.
This producer works a lot with Pinot Meunier.
Okay,
You
that's
know?
what I was going
That's
to say.
what I love. And he grows the Pinot Meunier. Pinot Meunier in Champagne is quite hard to find. Most of the people who use it, they don't grow it. They buy it. He grows. So,
It's so
all
good.
the grapes that you see in
Oh, Cremant. It's a Grand Cru from Cremant. Okay. Nice. Okay, so then what was it like trying to train staff? I would imagine that, especially in a growing wine culture, that it must have been, it's an even harder step to try and help your team learn about foods.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, imagine, we grow up in the U.S., and even if I didn't have a lot of wine knowledge when I started, it was accessible, right? And I feel like here, it's a different access for the teams and for the people that work for you. So, what was I guess? Well, you had already been working in restaurants for a while here, but what is that like? Like trying to help your team understand fine dining. It's like a world that for many is like not accessible,
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you see this from the outside, it might look so challenging because people here did not grow with wine.
Yeah.
Very few,
Wait, there's
and
people.
only-
Are there people growing wine here?
No, I mean, they didn't grow up with wine.
Oh, of course, yeah. They're
So-
not. Yeah.
So of course, the wine has not been part of the culture. Like it happened also in many countries in Southeast Asia. It's
Yeah.
just that in some countries in Southeast Asia, the economy started growing earlier than here, and the local people were traveling also a lot.
Sure.
So when you
Especially
travel,
in
your palate
Hong
evolves,
Kong and these
Then you
different
come back,
international, yeah.
and you want to buy and you want to import and you want to keep learning. Here it took time, in wine. I think since the 80s, late 80s, that was here, but it was not really, the growth was not really notorious,
Yeah.
When you see from the outside part, you think that it's going to be very challenging because people don't know about wine here. But, after so many years, I didn't realize that it's easier to train people
From
in
scratch?
a place there's no knowledge about wine from scratch, that in a place where it's normal to know about wine. Because in a place where it's normal to know about wine, in reality, I can tell to you, many people is not well trained,
They
they
think
take
they
for
know,
granted
but
that they
don't
know
really
about wine,
Right.
you know. So
Yeah.
and they let them go. You can say whatever you want. And I have been in Spain eating in many restaurants, listening to the guy who is presenting the wine,
Full of
saying
shit.
like, what the fuck is this
Yeah.
guy telling?
I've
You
been
know
there
what
too.
I mean? Come on.
Yeah,
I've
I
been
mean,
there too.
so let it go. And then I think, you know, it's funny because many people think that it's more challenging to start from scratch, but I think it's better to start from
And
scratch because you
that's interesting.
can
Makes
you
sense.
can actually form. You know, there's not wrong habits, wrong manners.
Sure.
There's not arrogant like, hey, why you
Yeah.
tell? I know this already. I know
Right.
that already. You know, in Spain we always say everyone is sabelo todo. No, sabelo
Yeah.
todo means
Sabelo todo.
they know everything.
Right.
Everyone in Spain, they know
Yeah.
everything. You know,
Yeah.
you don't need to tell anything. Everybody knows everything.
Yeah.
Like, okay, well, I just shut up. You know.
Right.
So I'm sure that training people in Spain, it's harder than training people here.
That
you know?
makes so what you're saying is you have an easier job than the managers in Spain.
Maybe. No, I mean,
Yeah.
of course, you know, the problem in the Philippines is that the Filipino culture, like in many places also in Asia, in Japan, for example, is very hierarchical. You
Yeah.
know, so it's very classist. So the problem that you face here is that many consumers, when they go to the place and they want to buy, first of all, when they see it's a Filipino, they're selling wines, most of the times they don't trust. You know,
Got it.
why? Because they feel like, you know, this guy,
Yeah.
whatever he knows about wine is because has been told about the wine, but not because he has been drinking this bottle and this and that.
Right.
However, when you go to other countries that they grow wine, you know, it is for the consumer it's easier to believe that the server
Right.
is familiar with the wine. So that's the only handicap. I see
Understood.
here, you
It's the
know.
perception.
The perception, yeah.
Got it.
But aside from the perception, for the rest, yeah, I think it's more.
It seems like
workable.
drinking culture in Manila is real. I mean, there's always like top 50 bars, mixologists in Asia. There's a lot of them here.
Yeah,
It
there
seems
are,
like
there
something that they really take seriously.
They are, you know. But that's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's
That's
awesome.
beautiful.
Yeah, I agree. And then so when you so being with Chanton, you start. I'm sorry, I probably I skipped around, but you started with the restaurant, some hams, some olive oils, and then were you? I don't want to say worried, but was there any hesitation on maybe bringing in certain wines, or what was it in the beginning that was just like, this is going great, like this can be the foundation? Was it the ham? Was it the wine? Or
Well, I think that the ham it helped us to bring a new concept in Manila, because it's not like there were no wine shops in Manila. There were many wine shops in Manila by the time we opened 10 years ago, but the ham, the way we present the ham with the different varieties and doing tastings like with 6 different wines and 6 different hams, that was really very new here and very unique.
And you
in
get hams that they don't get in the States, right? Is that
The
true?
what?
You
Big
get
time,
hams
yeah.
that you don't get in the States? Like they don't actually import these hams into the United States.
Well, I guess that some of the brands that I work with, they are already imported in US.
Oh, they are?
I think that US used to have a very strong regulation
yeah, the USDA was super.
about the bone. I think that there was
Right.
issues with the importation of
Yep.
jamon with bone.
Yep.
I don't know if today is still like that.
I think it's
but-
still pretty strict.
See?
It's still pretty strict.
But-
This is how Jose Andres has made all his money. Is I think I don't know Jose for sure if this is what you did, but I think this is what you did. Like putting a USDA facility in like Huelva or in one of these areas where someone from the US is stamping it before it gets shipped.
Wow.
You know
I
what I
never
mean?
heard about that, but you know,
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense because, you know, come on. Americans, they like ham, you know.
Wow.
You have 200 million people there with money that can afford to eat ham, you know. So
Ham is fucking good.
yeah.
And on that note, so my father, un Vasco pero puro, right? Super
Like
Basque.
your name, and your
Right.
name's with X, no?
Yeah,
Share with
yeah.
X. Basque.
Super Basque. And my father used to get so upset because he's like, prosciutto.
Yeah.
What the fuck is prosciutto? He's like, these fucking savages don't know how to eat real ham, right? He'd be like, estos salvajes. They eat this prosciutto shit. When you, I mean, I wonder as a Spaniard, because I'm very proud of jamon. And jamon for me is and jamon and the chorizos from Spain are the best charcuteries. But do you feel the same way? Or do you also, and I mean, I enjoy some prosciutto, but I would eat I would eat normal ham over the best prosciutto di Parma any day. Do you have the same kind of feeling, or?
Well, I gotta say that I used to. I still believe that when we are talking about jamón ibérico acorn fed, I think that there's nothing that can be compared with that in the charcuterie world. But as we start also growing with our portfolio in Italy,
So you have some Italian stuff now.
I'm not bringing
So we
yet.
can't talk shit on the Italians.
No, but I respect what you say because, as I mentioned, no, I still, aside from all what I have tried in Italy, I haven't found anything that can be compared with the jamón ibérico acorn fed.
Yes.
Nothing. But it's true that since a few years ago we started expanding our portfolio. We're bringing now a lot of delicatessen from Italy, from France, and from Italy I'm starting to bring now pasta, new pasta. Well, it's not new, 100 years old, Rusticella d'Abruzzo, which is considered, along with Mancini, the top pastas in the world. But Mancini is 10, 15 years old, Rusticella is 100. So I'm saying to you that we're expanding the portfolio, and then a few years ago I said, I really want to learn about charcuterie in Italy. I live in Italy 1 year from 2004 to 2005.
Add another one to the. Do you speak Italian too?
I do. But
Holy shit!
I mean, I understand better from what I speak because, of course, I have not practiced Italian for a long time. But when I'm with Italians dealing, I like them to speak Italian with me, and then if I feel I can answer in Italian, I will. If not, I answer in English. But
yes,
but
isn't that funny? So I went to Italy one time, Tony. Besay. I went to Florence and I went to Roma. And I thought to myself, it would be so nice to try and get through this conversation. I'll speak to them in Spanish and they speak to me in Italian. These motherfuckers, every one of them says, Inglese. I speak to you in English because they don't want to try Spanish to Italian.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? I'm like, you got like the Portuguese opposite. So sweet. I speak in Spanish. They speak to me in Portuguese. They make it happen. They do the dance. They do the dance, right?
Yeah.
They're like, okay, we're both.
Italian is not willing to dance. With
No, they don't want to dance.
They only like to dance with the Spanish ladies.
That's true. That makes sense. Maybe if I was a woman, they would try. Or if I was cuter. So then, where did you live in Italy?
In a place that when I mention it, even the Italians laugh at me.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, it was like a little village called Macerata.
Where is
30
this?
kilometers from Ancona.
I don't even know Ancona.
Okay, Perugia is in the center of Italy, right?
Okay.
A little bit lower.
Like Lazio?
A little bit lower,
Okay.
but not in the area of Rome. Rome is facing still Mediterranean.
On the other side.
On the other side, facing Adriatic Sea. Yeah? It was actually Pescara on the north of Pescara. Okay,
Oh my gosh.
still middle of Italy, but a little bit going to the south.
How did you end up there?
Because it was the last year of the university. I wanted to do the few subject pending with credits abroad.
Okay.
And at that time, I didn't speak any language. I wanted to go to Germany, but they didn't give me Germany. They ended up giving me what nobody wanted. And they said, what's this, Macerata? Well, it's okay. I mean, I found a few people also that got it. I like it then. Okay, well, let's go there,
So
that's how I
what's
ended
their famous dish there in Macerata?
I don't remember,
That's how good it was.
Because at that time, I know, but it's true. At that time, I was not
Into food
I was
like
not
that?
into gourmet,
Yeah.
even into wine. So I know today I'm talking with a few producers that maybe in the future I consider to bring something from Macerata just because
It's
romantic.
It's romantic. Yeah, it's romantic. Probably nobody will buy, but it's romantic.
Yeah.
I have a question, considering, when you do decide to import something, is it because there's kind of a limit? You have to purchase a certain amount of the thing to make it worthwhile to ship it, I would imagine. So is that kind of why you kind of really make sure that it's going to be the right fit? Because you end up with,
It's a commitment.
I don't know, a container, like how much?
No. no problem because, if you are a big player in the market, I'm talking about producers, of course, they're not going to sell to you a couple of cases,
Sure.
a couple of boxes or cases and say, okay, that's fine, They're not going to be humble. If they're going with you, you got to be ready to do a big
To push,
purchase, But when you start with very small producer, hidden area, they're fine with everything.
Cool.
So you can start with few cases, of course. The problem is the registration. That the registration requires some documents that sometimes can be, depending on the country or the area, a little bit more costly. So of course you need to make an order that
makes sense.
will then
Right.
allow to offset, the
Right.
investment. No? And yeah, with these kind of places, sometimes I take the plunge because they allow a few cases. They're humble. They're not gonna be demanding of. In my case, I say, okay, I gotta look at my cash flow continuously. So if I'm planning to add something that I didn't put it in the budget for this year, I have to be very conservative.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no problem at all with that. It's more, the problem is more about it will sell, people will understand it. In our case, when we opened Chanton, I brought already maybe a 30% of producer completely unknown. It was very hard to sell them. Today, after 10 years in the market, when you kind of start becoming popular or you
People
end up to
trust
become
you.
an authority.
Yeah.
When you are an authority, then you are able to sell unknown things
Sure.
because people trust you.
They trust.
They trust.
They trust, right.
Nobody knows this wine, but it's not even in wine search.
If you're carrying it, they trust that you've
so-
imported the right thing. Right.
Got
Makes
it.
sense.
Interesting. So then from here, Besay, what kind of challenges do you have when you bring a new wine in? Like, for example, you brought up Mark earlier. Mark's. So I went and visited Mark in the UK before I came here. And so Mark's family is in the shipping industry. And I'm always very just interested and shocked by the amount of work, of course, that goes into shipping these containers from around the world. Getting them to the Philippines is even crazier than, of course, shipping from Bilbao, let's say, to New York. From Bilbao to, is that where you get some of the Riojas from Bilbao?
Well, yes, near Bilbao, in the La Rioja Alavesa. La Rioja Alavesa is very close to the Basque Country, so I get some wines from Rioja Alavesa.
So when they're...
But not from Bilbao Port.
Not from Bilbao Port,
No,
okay.
I consolidate, or if it's in Spain, I consolidate in Barcelona,
Okay.
or sometimes in Valencia.
Okay, so how does that work? Hey, the shipment's leaving. Like, how do you know what's happening, and how does it all work? Because this, to me, is the logistics is crazy.
Yeah, well, logistics is everything. In the end, when you buy goods and sell goods, logistics is the...
Especially, and one jamon can cost what, 500 euro more, right?
Correct, even more, claro.
You ever like sweating? You know what I mean?
Well, the thing here is that we work with reliable forwarders, and that's very important to succeed in
Are
business.
these British? Are these Spanish forwarders, or are they Filipino, or both?
No, they're usually European forwarders.
Okay.
That they have offices here.
I see.
You also have Filipino forwarders, but the thing is that in the end, the most important thing is to operate with proper forwarders in origin.
Yeah.
Because, of course, rather if they have offices here or not, they're gonna be able to put the things here, and if you have a proper logistic department and you are also fully accomplished with all the papers and the red tape and all the documents, you should be able to clear up the things here in custom with no issue at all.
Got it.
But origin is very important. The way the things are done in origin are very important. And that's why, because 95% of what we import is in Europe, but I prefer to work with forwarders that are originally from Europe.
That makes sense. And so how long, let's say we order some jamon. How long does it usually take for the jamon to get here?
It depends. because sometimes I do freight shipments, and sometimes I do air shipments. So
Oh, you
if I
will do air
a-
shipments.
Yeah. If
But
I
that
do
makes it much more expensive, doesn't
it
it?
make it more expensive, but when you are bringing very expensive stuff,
It's better to
it's
be
better,
Yeah.
And even if not is very expensive, with cheeses, for example, with cheeses, I don't like to do. Many people bring them in reefer containers,
Sure.
combined with wines, with other goods. But in my case, I don't like. I prefer to do through plane because it's very sensitive product. It's very weak, So if something goes wrong, you have wines with sulfites that
Yeah.
can still protect the wine at some point. But with cheese, there's nothing that can protect it. If the temperature suddenly goes up drastically, that cheese has suffered already quite a lot.
Got it.
With the wine as well. But with the
course.
wine, what I'm saying is that there is a margin on this
Right.
thing.
Yes.
It's a margin of error that you don't have with cheeses
Of course.
or other caviar. Well, caviar, you don't have a choice. Caviar, you have to bring it through plane 100%, no? Because
Got it.
if it's non-pasteurized, it's 3 months shelf life,
All right.
So that could probably also help you keep your inventory not massive, because otherwise you'd have to imagine how long does it take to ship? How long does it get an order together for
The
shipping?
boat, I always say, I learned this from the first company I worked with here, that when we were with inventories, we were having columns where it was saying good for 4 months, good for 6 months, Usually, in the best scenario, is 3 to 4 months.
Really?
Since you make the order in the winery or in the food producer, whatever, until you have the goods in your warehouse, I count always 4 months.
So
Got
it can kind of make sense to do an air travel like at
Yeah.
sea because you don't have to kind of
Yeah.
guess how much
Exactly.
and lay out all
Yeah.
that cash to get 4 months worth of supply, right? And then have it all
And if
show
you
up,
go
have the
down-
storage to hold it all, right? And do
Yeah.
all these kinds
And
of
a
things.
poisse
for-
is not the same cheese 6 months later, 4 months later. That makes
it's not
sense.
the same. The cheese, especially if it's cured cheese and it travels in good conditions, there
Different
should
story.
not be a problem, But when you are bringing other things softer, you can't.
Right, of
Anyway,
course.
cheeses, usually soft cheeses, is 30 days, 45. Well, burrata is even 3 weeks.
We were
I think,
talking to
no,
somebody the other day who is doing a buffalo farm.
Yeah, so in somewhere around here, Besay, there's a big buffalo, water buffalo population. I'll have to connect you with them. And they're going to do raw, grass-fed buffalo milk
Really?
Yeah.
here in,
Well,
in the
Apparently, only
Philippines.
1% of the milk in the Philippines is fresh. The rest
Okay.
is all reconstituted. So they're going to try to tap into that market of fresh milk and
Yes.
mozzarellas and all that kind of
It's
stuff.
an investor
wow.
from
Very
Singapore who
interesting.
wants to
Yeah,
keep
wow, yeah.
natural raw products here.
Yeah, well, here in the Philippines, as I mentioned at the beginning, with these people, the cheese from Malagos in Davao, when I try the cheeses, hats off,
It was good, huh?
It was good,
What
I
kind
say
of cheese is it?
She make every kind of cheese, and she get inspired by European cheeses to elaborate those cheeses,
I'm gonna
So
give you
she
that.
was saying, please. So she was saying a lot about, for example, there was one that is called, she called it borracho, which is a similar one to a cured manchego. Okay.
Oh, like a drunken goat
And,
cheese?
I gotta say, you're in the Philippines, you have certain limitations.
Temperature being a big one. right?
it is. Usually when you make cheese, I guess that you're able to build some facilities where you can have temperature control and supposed to be everything on your hands, no? Nothing completely beyond your hands. But yeah, making cheese here is like, something very simple that define a lot every country where you go. It's pan, it's the bread. The bread, I like to, I always tell this, that the bread is going to tell you a lot from that place, and it's funny because in reality, you can import the frozen dough and wherever you are, you can do something very similar to other places. But when you try to do on your own, is when you realize that there are so many things that affect
The natural
that you
environment.
can control.
Yeah.
And it's the natural environment. You say, I use the same flour, I use the same formula, water, flour, I use this or that. But why is so fluffy? Why it doesn't get
So
that?
fluffy.
Why it doesn't get the texture that it gets there?
Might have something to do with the 80% humidity in Manila.
Oh my God, it's so humid here, Besay.
It's so humid. It's so
Holy
humid
shit.
here, man.
Yesterday we're walking around in this tasting and
It's so
I'm just
humid, man.
God, I'm just like a hot dog. I
Usually-
feel like
Usually
I-
it rains and it takes the humidity out of the air.
Yeah, like it's
just
more
adds to it.
It's crazy. You know, when we started importing around 9 years ago some humidors for cigars, that is a German brand called
it does the
Gerber.
opposite.
And you know what? When we brought the humidors here, and of course, there is a few owners of those humidors. After 5 years, just before COVID, we told to the German company, say, listen, you need to send a technician here to do inspection, a little bit of quality control in all the
Yeah.
humidors, check them, blah blah blah. You gotta check ours also because I think it's not
Calibrated?
It's not performing properly. Yeah, you need to calibrate it and then the panel control. So finally, German people, 6 months, negotiating until we convinced them to send someone here. And this guy was called Harold, And, I spent with him 6 days going around different places, all the owners that had humidors to check the humidors and everything. And he told to me, man, I can't understand why people need humidors here. And he was the technician of the company. I just came from a place where I measured with my hygrometer and it was 80% humidity. The humidity that a cigar needs is 75, 74, 73. It's pretty much there.
You need a dehumidifier.
Right.
So yeah, exactly. What you need is the opposite. So he say, no wonder why the humidifier is not working. It's not working because
Right.
it's the humidity is higher than
The
usually a humidor. It's trying to adapt
Right.
from what it's getting outside to create a balance. But the outside is even higher. How do you adapt? How the mechanism work?
Did he figure it out?
So, eh?
Was he able to figure it out?
No, he wasn't. No.
Oh my gosh.
Well,
he's
he
just
doesn't-
he's like open the door.
No, but it
checking
doesn't
everything, he
make
was
sense.
trying to,
It
but,
doesn't- it's like
it-
putting a freezer in Antarctica.
Right.
It's like doesn't.
You walk in the freezer to get warmer.
Right.
My God.
But it was funny. I think that humidors in countries like this, they don't have business. I don't think so. There's business here for companies doing humidors, And even they sell it here, and I think it's more a marketing thing.
Sure.
Okay.
It's like
what
a
is
nice
true is
display.
that what is true is that of
Consistency.
course, you gotta find a place where temperature and humidity humidity 65 maybe or 70, that is a little bit lower, but it's okay. Temperature maybe around 14 to 18 degrees, and the cigar might stay, Still, it's very challenging in Southeast Asia to...
Do you import cigars also?
No, we got the license, but, it's a very tricky business because even if you are 100% following the regulation and you have all the papers, it's a high tax
Got it.
item, So when you bring things in that are very high tax, you are always in the eye of the hurricane. You're always on the
Yeah,
spot.
that makes sense.
Everybody's always looking at you to look for
Right.
irregularities. So we got to do a little bit at the beginning, but then
It's not worth it.
Right now
It's too much.
we're not keeping it that strong. So we have a few cigars we bought in the past, and we offered to some private customers, but in very small scale. We're now in the business here
Right.
for cigar.
What are some of the biggest sellers that like of your retail part of your operation?
Still the wines,
The wines.
The wines, the wines is the bigger percentage of the pie.
Have you been surprised? Like, what is a popular? Like, is anything ever run out the door that you weren't sure? was
Never
gonna-
expecting that
Yeah.
you would sell out so fast.
Yeah, well, this is funny because we talked about this a while ago. Greek wines.
Greek wines.
Yes,
What?
it really surprised me because I only brought this estate and I was able to...
Which one is it? Cigaras?
Domaine Economo. No, I mentioned to you, from Crete. Domaine Economo.
I don't know it. I've never had the wines.
But this one, I brought it. I got to meet this wine in the very beginning, thanks to Mark, and then what I mentioned.
Have you been to Greece before, Besay?
No, never.
We need to go.
Never been in Greece.
We need to
I
go.
wanna go. We talk a lot with Mark.
Yeah.
I really wanna do it. Nice
Yeah.
summer and. But yeah, I mean that one surprised me. I think good value for money. Portugal also. I started importing. I was so lucky because I got a very good friend that he used to be the sales manager of a very famous winery in Portugal that he left. At that time, he was selling me wine from that winery, and then he opened a business to import wines in Singapore, all from Portugal, and he helped me to build the portfolio here. And I was able to catch all the stars, all the rock stars in Portugal.
Nice.
Still good value, amazing quality.
They're not as well known either. So you
They're
can
not-
probably
they're
get
not,
some
they're
great
not, but
wines at good prices.
Amazing wines,
Yeah.
amazing prices. So I gotta say that Portugal also shocked me when we put on the shelves in the very beginning and we start doing promos. People buying a lot. In fact, there was one wine. I don't want to do advertisement, but
Yeah, you're
this
allowed
is-
to.
This is Alves de Souza, which is a producer in Portugal, in Douro, fantastic producer, and he makes his high-end wine is called Abandonado. I brought, I think 6-7 cases. Dude, I was having people texting me telling me, last night I drank blind a Côte d'Estornel 2001 and this wine 2006, 2007, and everybody
Love the wine.
Really?
love the wine over Côte d'Estornel. O1 is not a great vintage in Bordeaux, but it's mature,
Sure.
it's enjoyable, So suddenly it was like, what? People is comparing a fucking Côte d'Estornel,
How much is
ready to
that?
drink with a bottle of Abandonado that is times 3 less the price of Côte d'Estornel. We were talking about a bottle. It was $100, $150 versus $300, $350.
Right.
And then, the word spread out, and suddenly in 3 weeks we were sold out of that wine. And I brought from that winery entry level that I sold less than 36 bottles in that time, but that one, wow. And I was thinking like, dude, my market is not really entry level wines. My market is really more mid-high. But that someone got to tell to you that he liked that wine in blind more than
A classic second growth.
that I love it too. I
love
Côte
Côte d'Estornel.
So
have
it
you-
really made me. And now I have people keep asking me. I have new stocks coming probably by August, and people tell me, let me know. And I'm thinking, my God, I'm gonna have to do a pre-sale with this wine, and I don't need to pre-sale at Côte d'Estornel because I can stay on the shelf. You can find it everywhere, but you cannot find that everywhere.
That's awesome.
So that really put me in the point like, oh wow. And the other one, sake.
Sake.
Yes.
Is this where
sake.
Tokyo comes into your life?
I'm
little bit?
growing with sake now,
Yeah.
and I'm surprised that many accounts I visit, I connect with the chef, we drink it together. The Japanese, what I like is that it's a cultural consensus. They take time. But here in Manila, it's so quick. You go there, you like it, the chef has power, and he wants to buy already. And you say, no worry, we deliver tomorrow. No, you can deliver now. Fine, I pay you now. Like, oh my God, this is amazing.
This is awesome. Yeah.
So with the sake, my wife helped me a lot to develop, to curate the selection.
She's Japanese.
Yeah, she's Japanese. And yeah, I mean, I think that it's also something that I didn't know. I didn't know if the market would be there because there was only one big importer here for sake. And now and then a few people bringing just few scatter from different areas, but very few. Not nothing in
I like
volume,
to branch out with my sake. Like, do you enjoy it with anything besides Japanese food? Like, do you think it goes with anything that
I don't think so. It goes with everything,
not everything, but is there something that's not
I mean,
Japanese
the sushi,
food?
yeah, I
Right.
love it.
It's the
Right, of
best.
course, yeah.
I love it. The sushi is what it is. I love it, I love to drink sake with sushi. Yeah, I would say that over all the gastronomy in Japan, and you guys just came from there.
Yeah.
recently. So I think that the sushi is something else, And then warm and cold. I like warm sake too.
Yeah?
You do.
I do.
Interesting.
Does your
Here I cannot do it because people will tell you, "Are you crazy? Warm sake here with this climate?" You
Right.
know?
So in Japan is warm sake also a thing?
Yeah, they do. And you know, there is a place. I started drinking warm sake in Niigata. Because
Niigata.
Niigata is just with the Shinkansen from Tokyo. It's just 1 hour and 20 minutes. And if you do snowboard, ski, I love it. Because you don't have to go to Nagano. That is 2.5 hours between different transportation or traveling to Hokkaido to Niseko. No? So Niigata, I remember that in the station there is a sake museum, and my wife is also into the beverage industry. So when we were arriving there, it was always like, okay, the first stop, because we already took the breakfast in the train. The first stop is in the Museo Sake.
Yeah.
We get a little bit of sake, we get warm, 9:30, okay, we're ready to go to the snow.
Nice.
And, the guy has always prepared like a little pot where you have like more than 300 varieties of sakes. He gives you coins, you buy coins, you put the coin, you select your sake, and they explain to you which ones are good for warm, okay? Usually, the sakes that are low in alcohol, they are good for warm, because they are not harsh when you drink. Otherwise,
and how warm will they usually make it? Like
I think that when you heat it, I think that it goes to 50 degrees, something like that.
Okay.
Then you get it out, you wait a bit, and you drink it. I think so. It was around that.
So it's really like warm.
It's warm.
Yeah, it's warm. It's warm. And it's funny, but I remember in that place also in Niigata, one of our second trip there, we were staying in a little boutique hotel called L'Aubergine that the owner is a chef, and he's Austrian chef. He loves Austrian culture. Mm-hmm. And he makes omakase with Austrian hints in the cuisine, and he finds his way. He's crazy guy. And he made the wife wear Austrian attire,
Are you serious?
Yeah.
So, she's Japanese?
Yeah, she's Japanese, and you see with the Austrian attire, like
it's
so funny, So this guy, I remember he was the one night that we were trying every sake, cold and warm.
The same one, cold and warm.
Cold and warm, the same one. And then we got to the conclusion that there were a few that, this is
better warm
than cold.
No shit.
Yeah.
It's, what's funny is sake definitely has had a moment, especially with, there's a really famous importer, I think it's called Vine Connections. And they've done such a great job of
these people are all around Southeast Asia, Wine Connection.
I think,
they have
what I know
branches in different places.
They may, because they're super famous for bringing sake to the United States and bringing a culture of understanding honjozos and the daginjos and all the different styles. Okay. And then they also they were one of the first to develop all the Argentinian brands that came to the U.S. But everybody made fun of people who would drink warm sake.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was still something that...
But it's cool, man. It's cool.
I thought it was like an Americanization.
Yeah.
No,
they told us that, doing that, not Vine Connections necessarily, but we had this idea that warm sake was like...
covering up like the worst kind.
Like calimocho. You know what I mean?
No, think about it. It's just the opposite. If you heat a wine and you still enjoy that wine,
true.
It must be fucking amazing.
I've never
wine.
once
So because we like to drink wine. 18 degrees, depending on the wine, from 18 degrees to 8 degrees. You know? So in Japan, you can easily buy a sake warmer, and it's pretty much integrating the culture. And you are in the mountains, for example. That's another thing also. One thing is about the pairing with what you are eating, but the other thing is being in the mountain. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's cold.
Right.
Got it. That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's also nice, Of course, that's why here in the Philippines, to introduce the concept of sake warm, sake that has been warm, it's gonna be very challenging.
Yeah.
I think,
Well, I was gonna ask you. You mentioned a very important word because this past year, Tony was kind enough to invite me to New York to celebrate my birthday. Mm-hmm. We went and saw Beck. and then we went and visited a friend of mine who's his name's Brian Vandergast, an awesome chef. He did an awesome dinner for me, and I've never necessarily been much of a fan of caviar.
Yeah.
But he sent us some caviar, and ever since then, I've been slowly going through a love affair with caviar.
Yeah.
I hate it because it's not necessarily an inexpensive habit.
Yeah.
But how do you feel about these super high quality products? Like, I'm so proud of you, Besay, because if it were me who had the keys to all this inventory, I would be a fucking menace on the business. Because I'd be eating caviar, I'd be eating jamon, I'd be drinking fucking Cosnes Tornel. Like, I'd be the worst business partner of all time for this.
No, but this is what everybody says until you are in this kind of business, and then your mind completely.
And now you're like, I only drink Pinot Grigio because it's the cheapest thing.
No, of course no. But first of all, you manage the quantity that you drink. I think that the world changed a lot. Many of us were drinking less and less, but
It is true.
But when we drink, we want to drink well.
Quality, I agree.
Quality. So, second of all, when you are working with that product every day, you don't even notice it anymore. Even when I started in the beginning, I was that busy that I didn't have even time to think about the fact of going there and give me a slice of ham or this or that. So you get used to this, For example, in our case with the jamon, we have a professional team of carvers, 3, and we're forming, we're training for 1. I always tell them, every jamon you open, you get to try. You get to try because sometimes we find out that the flavor is not balanced.
Really?
There is something that smell. When you have carved 1,000 jamones, I can tell you that in our team, the knowledge that our ladies have.
Are these Filipinas?
Yeah, 2 Filipinas that they were trained by a Dominican Spanish guy that worked with us during the first 6 years of the business. He was a carver that I brought from Spain, from Barcelona, and he was very good carver. I mean, from all the carvers I met, he was the one. And I wanted the team.
What was his name?
Gerson.
We got to give Gerson a shout out.
Yeah.
Actually, was this the super handsome guy that all the Filipinas would like, oh, take another slice? I think I remember. I think I met him one time.
He was.
And
He was. And it's funny because he doesn't work anymore for the meat industry. He opened a vegetarian concept.
No.
Yes.
That's what. See, is that what happens when you carve
when
1,000
you eat too much?
hams?
That will happen when you. No, but at the time that he was already here, he was eating less jamon. So he came already from an environment where they were eating jamon. It was normal. It's a good example also because when you get used to doing that every day, you don't even want to try sometimes. Right. Sometimes I was trying to eat, did you try the jamon? No, but I let them try. Try, coño.
What a fucking problem.
You gotta try as well.
What a problem, yeah.
But with this I want to say that it's true, when you stay already working with this product for a certain time, it's not seen in the same, doesn't have the same perception that you from outside say, like, if I will be there, I will ruin your inventory. You know what I mean?
But
so,
I have to tell you,
I think he would be.
I have to make a confession.
I would trust him. Yeah.
I have to make a confession. So I worked in steakhouses for 15 years.
Yeah.
High-end steakhouses, and still, every time I walk by a ribeye, doesn't matter if it's in the supermarket, if it's in Rustan's, I start to salivate. Like I turn into a German Shepherd. I'm a problem. I'm a problem. Even we went to go eat Kobe in one of the restaurants in Ginza, and we had a great time. But I'm telling you, it's like I turn into a fucking German Shepherd.
But that's amazing.
I can't
15
stop.
years in a steakhouse,
my gosh! And it's just like I look at it and I'm talking about it and I'm salivating. Anyway, so then you've now been in Asia for how long? 15 years? 20 years?
2010.
And so I would imagine, because the roots are strong, you still feel like a Spaniard, right?
Of course, I mean, I'm Spanish, you know,
Yeah.
so, I mean, you know, when you are for so long out from your country, of course, I feel I'm Spanish. My roots are there, but it's not like, you know, I really miss Spain. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
You set up your life here, so it's
I live my life here. I would be happy to keep exploring my life somewhere else too.
where are
you
your
know?
favorite travel spots in Asia? Like
In
when
Asia-
you like have a vacation, where do you go? Besides Japan, obviously.
Yeah, Japan
Yeah.
we can account it because
Right.
of course it's also love. No,
Right.
it's not only.
Yeah.
It's still love.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But I say that, for example, I like Thailand.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Thailand is something else.
I've never been there.
Thailand
Bangkok?
is something else. Bangkok, Phuket. Phuket is changing a lot. No, Phuket used to be considered a backpackage area, and now there is an emerging, super rich society. Plus
Really?
a lot of wealthy people coming from all over the world,
Hanging out in
building
Phuket?
villas there, or being part of a residential with villas. Phuket is nothing to do before COVID, after COVID, no? So, yeah, I think I like Thailand. Yeah, I would say that, yeah, I will keep Thailand in
I need to go.
my top
Yeah.
destination in terms of going there frequently, you know.
I feel like the
Everything works
cuisine,
also.
the food there is something I
The
really
food is
crave.
fantastic.
Yeah.
I love the Thai food.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? I like also the Vietnamese food. But the Vietnam
Yeah.
food, I had to say that I only been there one time. It was so much fun. But in Thailand, it's like everything works, you know? It's like it's like a Manila where certain things works, you know? In Manila, it's like nothing works. It's the jungle, you know what I mean? You're in the middle of the jungle, literally. And in Bangkok, you know, you're still in the jungle, but there are certain things that they work like in first world economies countries. You know?
Huh.
Yeah.
The train works very well.
I
you know,
see.
you can move pretty well with the train, and that says something. When
Sure.
you're in a city where the rail system work, it says that, you know,
There's infrastructure.
it's a place where we can stay. You
Right.
know, I don't know why, but yeah, that's my.
That's a good tip. Look at the train situation,
yeah, rail system.
right?
You know.
So now that you've been in the Philippines, off the top of your head, what are a few of your favorite Filipino dishes? What are the things that like you crave? Like, cause you spend about half your time here in Manila and a lot of your time in Japan now too?
Well, until last year, it was more time in Japan and less time in Manila.
But now it's
Now,
switching.
because the new projects that we open, because we're about to open a caviar bar, we did also an expansion of Shantung with a new room for meat that is going to be la carne, con la carne.
In
What
Manila,
kind of
yeah.
carne?
All the meats that we're importing. We're bringing the Spanish blonde, the rubia gallega.
Get the
We're
fuck
bringing
outta
also, yeah, we're bringing
No.
a few breeds.
I
very
might have
interesting
to rent
It's very good, very good.
Do you have projects in Japan too, or is that just for?
No,
life?
in Japan, in Japan, we would like to do there because, I mean, when it comes to food, Japanese people appreciate a lot quality
Sure.
and they are happy to be trained and they're very humble in that sense. Even though for certain products, still Japan is in Asia, and you can tell. Many people say, Japan is more like Europe. I don't think so, my friend. I mean, if you live in Japan for a while, you will realize that there is so many similarities in terms of taste with Asian countries versus Europe. Another thing is that they like European products, but
Yes.
still the taste that they have, the peculiarities when they're tasting that they grew up with, they're very Asian
Interesting.
rather than
That makes sense.
than
I
European.
remember you telling me that they don't have the same level of appreciation for temperatures with wines and stuff. That
Well,
sometimes it can fluctuate quite a bit.
Well, I mean, Karen, there are things that, yeah, definitely. I think that Japan, if I compare with many other countries in Asia, still they like to take certain things seriously. But it's true that when it comes to importation, is probably the first country in Asia that start taking things seriously, importing in ref and doing all of this,
Yeah.
and taking care of maintenance, but it's still maybe
Maybe
let's
even on the
say,
store level.
Yeah, today it's a lot better. No, in Japan, I noticed that. Yeah, we talked about this before, but it's also true that I have seen many things that surprise me still today. That I don't see in Europe, which is the delivery of a product that is delivered refrigerated or even delivered frozen. It's amazing how logistics work in Japan for that. And I remember buying wines from a wine shop in the middle of nowhere in the north of Japan, having the wines delivered the day after at 8:30 in my house in Osaka. Chill, man. Wow. And the guy who delivered, he goes with a bicycle with a little remolque.
I don't know what remolque is.
It's like a
tricycle?
Yeah, like a tricycle that on the side she put
the sidecar.
Okay, like sidecar.
Yeah.
But the sidecar is prepared because everything, the cold chain has not been broken. You know what I mean? And then I realized, well, I saw that there is issues also with maintenance, but the main issue with maintenance is also in the stores.
That's what I was thinking, in the
store level. But in the logistic chain,
they're
still good. So if you are able to manage that well, now you will be able to get a good product. But yeah, it's sometimes a little bit challenging.
So let's go back, because I need to know this. What's your favorite Filipino dish? Do you have one?
Well, I don't eat, I barely eat Filipino cuisine. I have to tell you that.
Okay.
But it's true that during my first 5 years in the Philippines, all my friends were obsessed to travel abroad, while I wanted to really know the country. So my obsession was like, I need to visit all the beaches, all the islands, and really get a complete idea of the Philippines, and I did. At that time, I eat a lot of Filipino cuisine. I like the Bicol Express, okay, because it's spicy. I like the coconut milk in the dish.
Hell yeah.
And there is a few Filipino dishes that they play with the coconut milk. And I like coconut. So
I love coconut too.
I like the Bicol Express.
Okay.
I like the bulalok.
Bulalok is great.
Bulalok I like, but I haven't eaten bulalos in many years ago too. But I like, it's the beef stew, the stew beef and the soup.
Famous from Tagaytay, right?
The soup,
Those are two of
and
my
I would
favorites
say
too.
desserts. I like, they have one sticky rice with mango.
Okay.
There is a sticky rice with mango. I don't know how they call it, I forgot, but
What
they
is
have
it?
a sticky rice with mango. How do you call the dessert with the sticky rice with mango? Bibingka.
Nice.
I like the bibingka as well.
They actually, so it's funny, we've been going out to eat at a few restaurants while we've been back. And, the entree portions are solid, maybe like a 200 grams piece of meat. Then we ordered a dessert. It's like a kilo. They love dessert here. My God, dude.
Crazy about sweets. It's crazy about sweet here. There is a new Spanish restaurant that they opened less than a year ago. That the chef is from Catalonia, very nice guy. He did a cheesecake that, here in the Philippines, there is so many bloggers.
Sure.
The social media is very strong. He didn't know there was a blogger there. He tried the cheesecake. He wrote about the cheesecake. The day after, huge line in his restaurant,
Awesome.
And every day, huge line. People coming for lunch or for dinner, that they already ordered the cheesecake and they leave it on the side. Because they want to be sure that there is a stock of the cheesecake. And the guy say like, oh my God.
What's this place?
It's called El Born. El Born. Like El Born in Barcelona. And the guy is so funny. He say, I never imagined I will be in Philippines cooking cuisine. And I gotta tell you, he's doing nice. I like his cuisine so much.
Is it Catalan style?
It's Catalan. But you don't tell in the cuisine that it's Catalan. It's Spanish cuisine.
Okay.
And he does pretty well. He always saying that guy, this is the last thing I would expect. Now he's planning to open in the ground floor of the mall a cheesecake place because he doesn't have equipment and capacity to cook all the cheesecakes that people is asking every day.
It's great.
And people hear about sweets, they go crazy. But Philippines has something that is also like a trap. It's very quick. Your momentum, it's like this, you know.
Oh.
So you gotta make
As
money.
a restaurant person?
As a restaurant is different, but when you come out with an idea that is cool, you gotta try
Capitalize.
to
Maximize
capitalize
it.
as fast as possible, because we have seen it with churros, for example. We saw with churros.
Really?
With churros, there was a golden time here that it lasts for 2 to 3 years, and then it's over.
Gone.
You don't see them anymore. You know?
Interesting.
So, and it happened with many things. I mean, also with drinks, with gins. Few years ago, the gins. Now they do a gin festival every year in March. I
Jeans,
think.
like blue
March,
jeans,
April.
like pants.
Gin.
Jeans.
Got it, sorry.
No pants. Jeans, sorry. The pronunciation. My pronunciation. But there was a time that it was crazy, and now it's not that crazy. No, now it's tequila.
That's
time.
right. I
Now
noticed
it's
that there was
tequila
a
time. It's been
huge-
tequila
yeah,
time for a
yeah.
while.
I noticed the gin
somebody
thing.
was saying to me the other day, you gotta fuck with tequila. Yeah, I gotta fuck with tequila for what? 2 years?
Right.
Then what?
Right.
You know?
Right.
Get a bunch of inventory and just sit on
How much
it.
inventory,
Yeah.
and now
Right.
how did you move that?
And so, do you have when you go to visit Spain like once a year or so?
I try to do once a year.
What's the first thing you have to eat when you go to Spain?
Well, you know, you're going to laugh, but one of the first things I'm always craving about is tomatoes.
I'm not gonna laugh because I feel the same.
We had
So
some good tomatoes on a salad yesterday, and I was like, where did these come from?
that's true. We had some pretty good tomatoes.
I've only
But
ever seen them green, like at the
I
farmer's
know,
market and
right
stuff.
here, yeah. Maybe tomatoes.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Just simple olive oil, a little bit of Maldon salt,
Yeah,
like that.
That's it, you know. I miss that, you know. And tomatoes also are seasonal in Spain, but usually March, April, May is a very good time to find great tomatoes in Spain.
The rough tomatoes.
And in Almeria actually is a great producer. So I guess the tomatoes is something that I miss a lot.
Yeah.
When I come back there. I mentioned before also the pianonos. I like them, so I eat them when I
Right.
the sweets when I go there. And actually, this is in Granada. Yeah, that's pretty much because you know when you're importer, you're bringing a
You have
lot of
access to so
things,
much.
you know.
Yeah.
So it's not like I miss a lot Spanish product because
You're
I
surrounded
bring
by them.
many of them,
Yeah.
you know.
Right.
So yeah.
I have a last question. Because I've always wondered this. So I have never dated or been in the same household as a wine professional. And your wife is a wine professional, right? Is this good or bad? Do you, the reason I ask is because I can only imagine you go to a nice restaurant, you know, you go to Recondo to like have a nice meal and you're looking at the wine list. How do you settle fights? You get the white wine, I get the red wine. Like, how does this work? Does it work? Of course it does. You fell in love and you're married.
Well, we're still together after 5 years.
Yeah,
so still it
They
works,
just
you
eat
know?
separately.
Yeah, they eat separately.
No, it's true. This is funny because when we started, you know, it was every trip that we were doing together, it was like competition or not competition, but she was bringing the best stuff.
That's a good problem to have, though,
on her
Besay.
side. I was bringing the best stuff.
Of course.
And then we were finding the way, every restaurant we were going, one wine from her, one wine from me, and we discussed about all of this. But I noticed that since the very beginning, we start arguing already.
About wine or about everything?
About wine, later everything. But
Yeah,
the very
yeah.
beginning about wine, you know?
Yeah.
It was so funny because I remember nights of really getting upset and going to sleep mad because she has an opinion about the wine that is completely different from my opinion.
That's so funny.
Now it's funny, but at that time it
Yeah.
wasn't funny, you know. So I remember that we went through that in the very beginning until we are not going through that anymore, you know. But I mean, at the very beginning it was like this. But when it comes to wine list, you know, most of the time we pick together what we feel.
That's nice.
You know, I mean, it's good that I love Burgundy. She loves Burgundy too. We love everything that is nice to drink.
Yes,
okay?
of course.
But it's true that if today I have to say, okay, tomorrow you are dying, what do you want to drink? probably I will I will not stop drinking Burgundy.
Right.
And I will say goodbye to the world. So,
with a smile.
And she actually also loved Burgundy, but she loves champagne more than me. And in fact, she's the one who put me into champagne. Because when I met her, she was already very knowledgeable about champagne, and she was very knowledgeable about low dosage champagne. Okay?
I love the low dosage stuff.
And you know, at that time, it wasn't that trendy yet. And I remember she was working for an importer company in Japan, bringing Jerome Prévost. That today you cannot find Jerome Prévost.
La Closerie, right?
Ulysse Collin, you know,
Fuck, dude,
producers that today they are completely above the roof.
Yeah.
But at that time, you could still buy a good price
for $60,
we bought a
$70,
bunch, you know,
right?
yeah, $60, $70. You know, you could
now
get
$500. Tony.
Now $500, and then you saw that, and now you say, what? I mean,
do you know where the best place to drink champagne is?
Where?
The best for me, at least that I know of.
Yeah.
There's a little bar in La Parte Antigua of San Sebastian.
Yeah. Okay.
It's called Gambara. Have you been there before?
No, I never been there. I've been San Sebastian, but not there.
Oh fuck! This is on the podcast. Anyway, I'm gonna be there in a week.
Yeah.
And they have all of the Celos, all of the Ulysses Collin, all of the different Provost wines.
Wow.
For like anywhere from $100 to $300.
Yeah, wow.
But like you can still enjoy
they
it.
Didn't go crazy.
Some navajas, carabineros,
wow,
and they still have a nice list. The Vouette and Sorbet, like all this cool stuff.
Yeah.
So okay, so she got you into champagne.
Yeah, she got me into champagne. Yeah.
All right, cool. So you're so she's a part of the problem for the prices going up.
Yeah. No, but she also looked very well at these things. No, she understands very well what is a good deal.
Of course.
But she's so funny, you know. Sometimes she can say, "I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I just spent this money because it was too good, you know."
Of course, it
And
happens.
suddenly 2 boxes of wine arriving home and say,
What
you know,
the
the
fuck?
wine chill is full. Where are we gonna put this? No, I know an area where maybe we can put it, or let's clean up. Let's clean up here and let's see what
Got
we
another
can
wine
do
chiller
also,
on the way.
you know?
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Get another wine chiller. Well, awesome. We can't wait, Besay, to come visit you sometime in Japan. And what do you have going on here now? What's the next couple months for you? You mentioned a caviar bar.
Yeah, the caviar bar. Well, you know, I wanted to open by the end of July, but I don't know. And August here is not a good month to open business. It's the ghost month.
Yeah.
So
maybe in the
what month?
the ghost month is superstition. You know?
Oh.
So they nobody like to open business here in August because it's
a ghost month.
It's a bad luck.
That's
month,
so
you
fucking
know?
funny. So we have staff members in our office that don't want to work in the evenings because they have this idea that there's ghosts in the office.
Really?
Yeah.
It could be the best excuse ever to not.
It could be the best excuse
It
ever.
could be, but yeah, I mean here, Filipinos, I think that there is a culture of superstition.
Yeah, of course.
So they are for many things. So maybe.
All right, so we're definitely not going to open this place in August.
Maybe
I don't think
maybe we
so.
give like a rent reduction. We could bring that to
Oh
the
my
landlord
God.
and say like, hey, there's a ghost in the office. Could we take 5% off?
Yeah, take 5% off the rent.
Yeah. We're happy with it. It's fine. Just
Yeah.
knock off
Go ahead.
5%.
Go ahead.
Let's see what they say.
With the landlord. Let's
Yeah.
see what he says.
I'm pretty sure Mr. Araneta will say, get the fuck out of my face. Ghosts.
From his helicopter.
From his helicopter. Yeah. He's actually pretty nice. Well, awesome, man. We're super excited for you. And I can't wait to try the caviar bar. I can't wait to contribute to your top line revenue. I'm hoping that you let us know when you open.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do a little champagne and caviar.
Yeah. We miss that too.
Wow. Soon enough. Thanks, Besay.
Thank you.
Thanks for taking the time to
Thank
jump
you so
on.
much.
Thank you.
Best of luck.
Pleasure.
Cool.
And now, an important message from our representative to the Tri-National Chamber of Questionably Healthy Food and Beverages.
What we've decided now with Overseasoned is to take this on a completely different journey. And although I'd love to focus my entire life and the rest of my career trajectory on eating every kind of chorizo there is, we've decided that it's time that we start to really dive into and learn about all the great restaurants, the chefs and the people, the dishes, the places, the histories, the stories that make them unique in who they are, but we want to learn about and get reinvigorated by all the great restaurants that there are throughout the world. So join us for Overseasoned. We're really excited to have you on our journey. Let's make restaurants great again.